venture capitalists are moving away from solar, wind, and other forms of clean energy and finding a new niche to invest in. According to the National Venture Capital Association, investors are pouring into drug development companies. Should we be following their lead? Well, we're joined now from Palo Alto, California by venture capitalist Ira Ehrenpreis. Ira's a general partner at CleanTech VC Technology Partners. Ira, welcome. And obviously, you're still putting your money into alternative energy and so-called clean technology. But what are the trends that you're seeing in the industry? Are indeed people looking outside of that area right now?
Well, we see a lot of great investments in, as you referenced, in biotech and life science as well. We actually put half our capital in that area. The other half, as you said, is in this clean tech area. And we're in this unprecedented time for the clean tech industry. When our firms first started investing in this area, only 1% of all venture dollars went into clean tech. Today, fastest growing area of the venture asset class. Last year, the second largest amount of money went into clean tech. And it's really become that third leg of the venture stool in addition to IT and life sciences. And I think the early years we saw industries like solar and biofuels, and now we're seeing investments really across the gamut. Our most recent investment in wind, we see a lot of investments in storage. We're investors in the company Tesla, lots of investments in electric transportation, green buildings, energy efficiency, and it's really because we've had so much under-innovation in the clean tech sector historically. It really is a greenfield opportunity.
Ira, you mentioned wind, and I want to bring up what the CEO of the American Wind Energy Association told USA Today. She said basically that federal stimulus funds made 2009 what would have been a disastrous year for the wind industry, made it at least a little bit better. And that brings up a question that has really plagued this industry, whether it be wind or solar or some of the other alternative energy sources, for years. Is it really on government life support? And if that went away, I mean, is there a real underlying industry there, I guess is the question.
Yeah, great question. Well, we should have better policy in the U.S. The history of the policy in the U.S. has really been one of short-term orientation, not long-term predictability, and so we clearly need a lot of development on the policy side. We're beginning to see that from the DOE, the Obama administration, and some recent developments there. But in terms of getting to economic parity, that's exactly what the clean tech sector is doing. We're beginning to see it in wind and solar, where we're getting to cost not just parity, but superiority. And that's what innovation's about, is to invest in technology, invest in new kinds of companies that actually can surpass the fossil fuel infrastructure, not just in terms of making it cleaner, but in terms of making it cheaper.
Ira, you talked about the policy side development there, and I was wondering, at least from your perspective, do the folks who you are dealing with, the folks you are talking to in Washington, do they sense a greater sense of urgency at this point, given the economic climate? Do they understand the technologies that you're talking about are actually good for the economy?
Yeah, they do. Venture capital has always been the engine of job creation. If you look at how much venture capitalists invest, it's a tiny amount. It's about 0.2% of GDP comes from the venture capital asset class. And yet, the companies that have been venture-backed produce about $13 trillion of revenue, over 12 million jobs. And so, and so when you think about what venture capital historically has done for that engine of job creation, and now applying that to the clean tech sector, that's really where all the conversations that I'm doing back in D.C. are taking place. How can we get the next solar infrastructure, wind infrastructure, and all these companies that we're investing in become that new engine of job creation for the 21st century?
Ira, another story that caught my eye today involves Southern Company, which is the biggest electricity producer, so a big utility company, partnering with Ted Turner to make investments in solar energy. And in fact, a lot of the utilities have sort of been the leaders on clean tech, whether it be wind energy or solar. Is the VC community getting involved with these big companies as well in partnership?
Absolutely. You can't do clean tech without recognizing the traditional infrastructure, and the traditional energy companies are actually looking to our clean tech and venture-backed startups for innovation. And what we've really been doing is building a bridge between the two. 2009 saw a number of really important partnerships, actually ranging from companies like ExxonMobil, which did a big deal with one of our portfolio companies, Excelergy, as well as Synthetic Genomics, to companies like even Tesla is one example where Daimler made a big investment in it. So we're seeing a number of the large traditional companies, want to partner with the clean tech innovation side.
Ira, in terms of where exactly the money is going to be going here, something else that caught my eye, there's a lot out here, a lot of press on alt energy right now. The Geothermal Energy Association saying that energy generation capacity from geothermal is going to triple within the next 5 years. So just for 2010, what do you see as the big growth area? Is geothermal part of that?
You know, it will be a part of it, but I think this notion of sector diversity is really dominating the clean tech theme for 2010. As I mentioned before, you know, the kinds of numbers you quoted for geothermal, you could apply to solar, to wind, to the storage sector, and that's what's exciting right now, is we just haven't seen any of these areas capture a material amount of innovation dollars historically, and that's where our dollars are being applied today. And in almost every one of those examples, we're going to see that kind of growth going forward.
All right, Ira Ehrenpreis, General Partner at CleanTech VC Technology Partners, joining us from Stanford, California. Thanks a lot, Ira.
Thank you.